The old house sat at the edge of the village, its once bright walls faded and chipped. Wildflowers now pushed through cracks in the stone path, and the mango tree in the courtyard no longer bore fruit as sweet as it once did. Inside, Mira sat in her wooden chair, wrapped in a thin shawl though the sun was still high. Her eyes, though clouded with age, scanned the dusty road outside the gate. She watched for footsteps that never came. Mira had 3 sons. Once, the house had been filled with their laughter, the clatter of school bags tossed aside, the shouts of boys playing cricket in the yard, the squabbles over mangoes and sweets. She had raised them with patience, fed them with hands worn from kneading dough and carrying water from the well. After her husband died, she became both mother and father, sacrificing comfort to see her sons through their education. She sold her jewelry, worked in others' kitchens, and denied herself warm clothes in winter so they could have books and school fees. They grew into fine men. Ramesh, the eldest, became a government officer. Vikram, the middle one, worked in a software company in the city. And Arjun, the youngest, moved abroad to Canada after landing a job in engineering. They sent money, yes, but visits became fewer. First they called. Then the calls became messages. Then silence. One by one they had moved out, promising to return, promising to take her in once things settled down. Years passed. The promises dissolved like sugar in tea. Sweet but fleeting. She didn't ask for much. Letter. A visit during Diwali. Maybe a phone call on her birthday. But none came. One monsoon evening, Ronnie, her neighbor's daughter, came to check on her. "Auntie, you should come live with us. You shouldn't be alone." Mira smiled faintly. "I'm not alone. My sons are just busy." Ronnie didn't argue. She simply hugged her and left some warm food on the table. Mira spent her days tending to her tiny garden, feeding stray cats, and watching the sky change its colors. Nights were the hardest. The wind whistled through the cracks in the window, and silence pressed against her chest like a weight. Then one morning a letter arrived. It was from Arjun. "Dirma. Hope you're well. I'm getting married next month. It's a small ceremony in Toronto. I won't be able to come to India, but I'll send you photos. Hope you understand. Love, Arjun." Mira read the letter 3 times. Her fingers trembled. She folded it carefully and placed it in a small wooden box where she kept old school reports and faded photographs. She didn't cry. Her tears had dried years ago. Later that day she sat by the mango tree. It had once held a swing for Arjun. She remembered pushing him gently, his legs flailing in joy. The swing was gone, the rope long rotted. Only memory remained. As the sun dipped behind the hills, Mira whispered to the tree, "Why do children forget the arms that held them?" The tree had no answer. One winter, a letter came from the district office. The village was being modernized. Her house was marked for demolition. Compensation would be given. She had to leave. With nowhere to go, she packed a few belongings into a cloth bag, took her walking stick, and looked around the house one last time. The walls seemed to echo her footsteps. Outside, the village had changed. New buildings, new roads, new people. Her sons had spoken of progress. But where was the place for an old woman in all this advancement? She walked slowly to the bus stop, unsure where she was heading. A week later, a nurse in a government shelter found her sitting silently in the garden, staring at nothing. "Do you have any family, Amma?" she asked gently. Mira nodded. 3 sons. All well settled. "Do they know you're here?" Mira smiled sadly. "They're very busy." The nurse sat beside her. "You'll be safe here." Mira looked at the sky. "I've always been safe. Just forgotten." Years passed. In a clean room at the shelter, surrounded by other old souls, Mira lived quietly. She became a storyteller to the younger nurses, speaking of monsoon nights, mango pickles, cricket games in the courtyard, and the smell of her boys when they were young. One day a letter arrived. It was from Ramesh. "Ma, I'm coming to see you." "Sorry." But by then the bed was empty. Mira had passed away 2 days earlier in her sleep, under a blanket knitted by Ronnie. At her funeral, none of her sons came. Only Ronnie lit the fire, her eyes red. The mango tree in the shelter's garden bore its first fruit that year. Sweet like memory,